It was during peak COVID in 2020 that I had this urge to suddenly DM the editor-in-chief of Cosmo for an internship. I was at a crossroad in my life and I'd been getting rejected by every interview. And Cosmo and ITP had been in my dream list of companies to work for 3 years leading up to that. To my surprise, she replied to me saying there's no space and that I had to check in with her the next month. I did this for about 4 months until I finally got a calendar request for a meeting. Little did I know that that would turn into a 6-month internship.
Thank you so much,
No worries.
Amir.
It's always a pleasure. You're a fantastic interviewer. Honestly, she's great. Fantastic. Cosmo, you're very lucky.
2 years as a content producer and eventually a promotion into a senior content producer role. In these 4 years, I've interviewed some of the biggest names in the industry
and Cosmopolitan. Thank you for having me.
worked on multiple versions of print, taken luxury travel opportunities and built my dream career. But today, I am quitting it all. I'm just like saying my final goodbyes on the group. So much has happened this past week and I can't wait to fill you guys in on all the details. So on my last day in the office, I had the sweetest leaving lunch. I had about 16 to 17 people show up, which is a very big number for someone as shy and quiet and introverted as me. I gave a little speech, but I'm also so glad that I did because I said so many things that had been on my mind for such a long time. And then I had to pretty much pack my desk, do a detailed handover of everything that I'd been working on over the past couple of months, and I had to leave it all behind. After making fun of everyone that got emotional with me leaving, I myself had a mini cry session in my car right outside of office. I'm tearing up. I have 61 groups. I'm literally sat outside my office. I really hope no one catches me doing this. Whew. So cute.
Oh my god, I finally feel fine.
Keep the bag to the side.
Dude, I look so beautiful.
It actually took me 4 months to get to that dream role and get that dream job. And now that I've ticked it off my list of things to do, it was just time for me to move on. If you have been following me over the past couple of months, you'd know that my social media grew pretty quickly. I grew about 420,000 followers across all my channels within 1 year by doing it part-time. Although for a very long time, I didn't want to give up my job because it was that anchor in my life which I based every single decision around. I knew that it was also keeping me in my comfort zone of not challenging my discipline without a 9 to 5. The dreams that I actually want to achieve outside of my job and how capable I am of really succeeding when all the decisions were in my hands. Since sharing the decision of quitting my job, I've got so many questions around it, so let's actually answer some of them. My house is really messy, by the way, because I'm also traveling soon, but more on that later. Now, one of the biggest reasons for me to quit was mainly the finance aspect of social media. I've been very fortunate to actually monetize my content and get so many brand deals and work with such amazing companies and brands and products, and the pay being a creator is just insane. You cannot compare the both. And it was time for me to really capitalize off of that and take advantage of the eyeballs I had on my content while people actually cared or wanted to know more about me. The second is that my job actually kept me in this bubble of connecting me with really amazing people for 4 years, which I definitely took advantage of. Now, when you work in a publication, you're instantly added to so many mailing lists and PRs and contacts. You are introduced to someone important literally every single week, which I definitely could have used to advance my social media career, but I was very adamant on keeping both of them separate. I would never take up any deal in my personal channel by actually using my job. And at this stage with my social media, it was just time for me to really focus on my content and get better at it so I could attract these people onto my profile authentically. And I wanted to feel good about working on my network because of my own skills and my own talent and my own brand positioning in the influence industry. The third is that I also wanted to be a lot more intentional with my content. When you work for a magazine, you actually become a content machine and you have to produce and work on multiple things all at once. So it becomes more about quantity and speed over quality and intention because of how quickly the media landscape has been changing. And because I now have managed to get my speed and my quantity at a really good stage, it was just time for me to take a break, work slower, more calmly, and spend more time learning the things that actually got me my job. Now, nobody who sees my profile will guess that I'm actually a filmmaker because that is something that I kind of lost touch with over the past few months or years, and I just really want to bring that back. How are you getting deals from mid to big size brands? If you pitch to them, what is the strategy? I actually don't pitch myself at all. I've been very fortunate to be found by brands and PRs and influencer marketing agencies. I did try pitching myself a few weeks ago and I got ghosted by everyone. So this still happens no matter what size of an influencer you are. You just have to keep posting and hope that the right people find you. So what was your job? Can you explain to us, and how can I intern there? The best way to intern is actually go to these websites. The brands that I used to work for was Cosmopolitan Middle East and Grazia Middle East. We always used to put out call for internships. You can apply on the form and someone will reach out to you if your profile is of interest. My role was actually created based around my skill set. It wasn't an existing position. I used to work as a photographer and a videographer way before my internship. Once I came into the role, I was very adamant on not shooting anymore and actually working on my production skills, which is looking at briefs that clients send and come up with storyboards and come up with ideas on how to execute that into a video that people will watch, and coming up with video strategy overall to grow the platforms. That was pretty much my job. Honestly, even when I say this now, like, oh, I used to work as a senior content producer, it literally feels like a dream because that was a role that I'd been wanting for so many months and so many years, and the fact that I'm giving it up does make me a little bit sad, but it was a dream job for me. The goal is to do this for 6 to 8 months and to get a feel of what it's like to be self-employed, and if it's something that I enjoy and I can really scale up. If not, I will probably start applying to jobs again at really high positions in the hopes that the next 6 to 8 months will prepare me for that role. The next question is something that I actually get very often, which is, how did you manage everything while working a 9 to 5, shooting, editing and working so much? 2 things. I'm single, I live alone. These 2 things give you so much time in your life. Not having anyone to speak to or meet up over the weekends meant I could actually focus on my own social media. Living alone meant that once I come back home from work at like 6 p.m, I have 6 to 7 hours to just work on my own things, to get enough rest, to get inspired and to do things. I actually believe that is one of the main reasons I've been able to manage so many things at once. Not having a stable income is scary to me. How did you deal with that decision? I completely understand that. Luckily for me, the finance aspect of social media has been very consistent and very good for me. This was not necessarily a risk because I've been managing both for 1 year and I only left when I felt comfortable that I will still continue to make money. Also, I'm leaving in September. So in the influencer and media and publication industry, even in other industries actually, September onwards is when it gets the busiest. September, October, November, December is when brands start launching holiday collections, gifting collections. They also have the end of year budget, which they usually spend on influencers and media buying. But obviously you can never be too sure. I also want to share this one aspect of my job. It is a very stressful, high pressure environment at all times because many people treat every single thing as a life or death situation, which means not only is it quite stressful, but it also means that you can't switch off. I can never delete Instagram for a week because I just want to chill. No, because Instagram is my job, TikTok is my job. And it can get very taxing after a point because you're never really rested. Even if you're physically rested, your mind is never switched off. And I wanted more control over the way my mind worked. And when I sleep, when I wake up, who I'm following, who I'm not following, what I actually care about. Have you ever faced racism at work? If yes, how did you deal with it? No, I've never faced racism at work. The people at my work are champions of diversity and making sure that you are always seen and that you're given the right opportunities and equal opportunities. At the end of the day, one thing about being brown is that there are many microaggressions or micro-racism situations which you don't always clock in. I haven't faced it, but I can't really speak for everyone at all. I know that's a very politically right answer, but it's just the truth. How do you feel about achieving so much while you're still pretty young? I feel like something's clicked. You know, like all the years of confusion and not knowing the next step has finally made sense in a way. One thing about me is that no matter what phase of my life I've been, I feel like I've always been moving. I'm always looking for the next thing to do. Personally, it's helped me a lot to be that kind of person, to be very proactive in your life. In the very early months of my career, I would actually ask my manager and say, can I please be a part of this? Like, how can I be a part of that? Can you connect me with this person? And she would do that for me. She would facilitate that growth. All of this has helped me a lot. I feel like it's very important to not keep waiting for the right time. You just have to do it and then deal with the consequences of whatever it is much later. Having done that about 4 to 5 years, by now, I feel like I'm reaping the benefits of it and it makes me a lot more confident about my next steps. How do you plan on holding yourself accountable now that you're your own boss? I would say the first thing is I'm going to continue with my 7 a.m. gym sessions so that I'm in the habit of waking up early and being on the go. Second is I bought a monitor. I'm setting up my desk. It looks a bit messy, but hopefully that is a visual cue for me to start treating my social media as a good business with plans, with strategies and with goals. Would really love to work at Cosmo. What do I suggest I do to prep for it? I think the best thing that you can do is first be a consumer of such brands and such magazines. magazines, you need to know what are the kind of topics they talk about, what do they care about. Once you understand this, I suggest getting in touch with their digital editors or deputy editors or people in the team and send in maybe 2 to 3 pitches of what you can do for them. People are very busy in the publishing industry, so you have to be very quick and seamless. They need to know what you can do for them. And as long as your pitch is very straightforward and it's on brand, they will train you up. The last question that I'm going to answer is, when was the moment you knew that you should pursue content creation full time? There were actually 2 moments. The first was when I started facing delays in actually sending in my paid content for approval. So as an influencer, whatever video that goes live, which is paid, you have to send it for approval and it goes through multiple rounds. Because my job was taking up so much of my time, I couldn't work at the speed and efficiency that I wanted to. So I started facing delays, and I just don't like that feeling of making a potential client upset. So I knew that it was high time I gave this more attention. The second was when I didn't have the same drive to learn the way that I did, let's say last year, or when I joined first at the company. When I first joined as an intern, I remember I used to feel so excited to be sitting in meeting rooms with smart women. My team had many smart women. I would sit with them, listen to the stuff they had to say, and I was always going home with so much knowledge. But now, because I've grown in my career as well, and I was working at a senior role, which when I say, I still feel very giddy. I was one of the senior people in the room, so there wasn't more that I was learning, and I just really wanted to be a student again and learn something new and be excited about learning and grow once again. Now, this is not a question, but what's next for me? Next thing in my life would be to travel. It is to start creating more travel content and learn filmmaking, learn storytelling. And rather than focusing on quantity, I want to start focusing on quality a little bit more. I want to spend 2 weeks editing a video and be proud of what I put out. Take YouTube more seriously. I want to document my life. I want to learn more. I want to get more into fitness, take care of my body, and just start living a slow life. So that's pretty much it. If you have more questions, leave them in the comments below. I will answer it all. And maybe sometime in the future, I would also love to do a video on things that I've learned in the corporate world and how I was able to, I would say, grow pretty quickly, but maybe I'm not qualified to talk about it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!